Billionaire Epstein died in his prison cell. Or perhaps he wanted us to believe he did. What he left behind were disturbing questions filled with perverse secrets stretching from royal families to tech giants, from scientists to politicians. Let's take a look together at who Epstein was, how he emerged, who gave him power, what happened on the island, what was being planned, and how this entire scandal came to light. What is hidden in the depths of the Epstein files? Which faces will we see? We are curious about the details. If you enjoy these videos, don't forget to subscribe and like. Lost fact: Jeffrey Epstein was an American, born on January 20th, 1953. He presented himself as a businessman, but beneath that image were allegations of child sexual abuse, serial rape, and human trafficking. He began his professional life as a teacher at the Dalton School and was hired by Donald Barr despite not having a university degree. After being dismissed from the school in 1976, he entered the banking and finance sector at Bear Stearns. Later, in 1981, he founded his own firm, which appeared to be a consulting company. A large portion of his wealth came from tax and estate services he provided to billionaires. By managing financial investments for the ultra-wealthy, Epstein secured a strong position within high society. Behind the image of a financial firm, however, prosecutors would later allege a system in which underage girls were abused, held, and trafficked. Within this network were many well-known figures: Donald Barr, Leslie Wexner, Maxwell, Trump, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, among others. In the early 1990s, Epstein introduced Ghislaine Maxwell as his girlfriend. Ghislaine Maxwell was the daughter of Robert Maxwell, and due to her father's status, a well-connected socialite who frequently moved in royal circles. Epstein kept her close, expanding his own network through her connections. In 1998, Jeffrey Epstein purchased Little St. James, an island in the U.S. Virgin Islands in the Caribbean. From the outside, it appeared to be a tropical paradise. Over time, however, it became associated with some of the darkest allegations in the world. The island was entirely private property. It reportedly contained multiple bedrooms, guest suites, large living areas, private office spaces, a library, a kitchen, and staff quarters. Around 8 bedrooms in total in the main residence. Beyond the main house, there were additional structures, guest bungalows, separate guest houses, staff accommodations, a private gym and spa areas, a helipad, a dock, swimming pools, and security structures. One of the most striking buildings was a domed, temple-like structure. The island was designed with high walls, security cameras, and limited access points. It gave the impression not just of luxury living, but of an isolated closed system. What happened behind those high walls would later become one of the most debated questions in the world. By the 2000s, Epstein was no longer just another wealthy man. His name was mentioned alongside global figures such as former U.S. President Bill Clinton, Hollywood stars, academics, elite business leaders. He was photographed with powerful people. This created an invisible shield around him. But in 2005, the first crack appeared. A family in Florida reported to the police that their underage daughter had been abused by Epstein. This complaint transformed years of whispers into a concrete investigation. As police expanded the case, the picture grew darker. Testimonies emerged that underage girls had been present at his Florida mansion and his luxury home in New York. According to allegations, young girls were brought in for money under the pretense of massages. The person allegedly helping recruit these girls was Ghislaine Maxwell. What appeared at first to be an individual crime began to point toward a far more organized system. In 2006, an official case was filed against him. Hundreds of tips, numerous testimonies. Yet strangely, the case did not receive the public attention many expected. Media coverage remained limited. As the file grew, so did the silence. When Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2008, the allegations had turned into formal charges: solicitation of prostitution involving a minor and procurement of a person for prostitution. His sentence was 18 months in prison. But those 18 months did not unfold like an ordinary incarceration. Epstein was allowed to leave jail for large portions of the day under a work release program, reportedly going to his office. In practice, he served about 13 months behind bars. He was imprisoned, but not entirely. There have long been theories that Florida federal prosecutor Alexander Acosta helped secure a deal that allowed Epstein to avoid far more serious federal charges. The 2008 conviction was not the end. It was the beginning of a much larger question. With so many testimonies and such serious allegations, was that sentence truly enough? When Epstein was released in 2009, many believed he would disappear from public life. He was officially a registered sex offender, yet his life did not unfold as expected. He returned to his luxury mansion in New York. He continued flying on his private jet. He spent time at his private Caribbean island, His connections to elite circles did not appear to be severed. From the outside, 2008 seemed like a brief interruption, a small parenthesis in a much larger story. By the late 2000s, investigative journalism intensified again. Old case files were reopened. The controversial plea agreement was scrutinized. And in 2019, Epstein was arrested once more, this time on federal sex trafficking charges. The decade of silence had been nothing more than the calm before the storm. He was detained in New York. This time, there seemed to be nowhere left to run. The case was federal. Public pressure was immense. The file was extensive. Many believed that, at last, long unanswered questions would be addressed in a courtroom. That day never came. On the morning of August 10th, 2019, Epstein was found dead in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan. New York medical officials ruled the death a suicide by hanging. According to official records, weeks earlier, he had been found unconscious in his cell with marks on his neck. He was briefly placed on suicide watch, but that monitoring was later removed. The night before his death, his cellmate had been transferred, leaving him alone. He was supposed to be checked regularly, yet reports later revealed that guards failed to conduct required checks and that some security cameras were not functioning or had missing footage. These details intensified suspicion. Some argued he had psychologically collapsed. Others believed the possibility of him testifying in open court may have unsettled powerful individuals. Skeptics pointed to three issues in particular: a high-profile federal detainee left alone, multiple simultaneous failures in monitoring procedures, and the removal of suicide watch for someone previously considered at risk. Others went further, questioning whether he had truly died, suggesting he may have escaped or been extracted under a new identity. Such claims spread rapidly on social media. However, no verified evidence has ever substantiated those theories. Still, for many people, the doubts have never fully disappeared. With Epstein's death, the criminal case against him was closed. Attention shifted to surviving associates. But the deeper story remained hidden within sealed files and the remnants of the network he built. The Epstein case has gone down as one of the darkest and most controversial criminal investigations of the modern era. According to official indictments and victim testimonies, he targeted vulnerable girls between the ages of 14 and 17, often from economically fragile backgrounds. The approach was typically the same: offers of massage work, promises of hourly pay, and the illusion of easy money inside luxurious mansions. During trial proceedings, testimony indicated that Maxwell was not merely present. She was described as an active participant in the system. Allegations stated that she approached young girls in a friendly, almost sisterly manner, gaining their trust and normalizing inappropriate behavior by suggesting, "This is what adults do." Victim accounts described a gradual process: trust first, then boundaries slowly eroded. In the end, the heaviest burden was carried by the survivors, many of whom lived for years with trauma. Through their testimony, the hidden system behind closed doors was exposed to the world. The Epstein case is not fully closed. Unanswered questions remain, partial testimonies, details left in the shadows. In this episode, we examined how the network was built, who stood at its center, and how the system functioned. In part 2, based on court records and witness statements, we will look more closely at how events unfolded, the methods victims described, and the manipulation tactics that were allegedly used. How was the first contact established? How was trust built? And what truly happened once the door closed? In the next episode, we move into the most disturbing part of this file. Subscribe to follow the full story.